Hey, quick break from the episode. I want to tell you about Memories of Christmas because this is the gift that you are going to wish you had gotten in 20 years rather than another thing or, whatever it is you might want this year. I'm going to read this. Listen to this. POV. It's Christmas morning and no one is tugging on your arm to wake up and you don't hear that little feet scurrying down the hallway, but you do have this book, Memories of Christmas, on the shelf that captured it all. It's just reality. The day is gonna come when your Christmas morning will look drastically different, and you could scroll through hundreds of photos and try to find videos on your phone to relive the mornings of Christmas, or you can open a Memories of Christmas journal to see it all captured year by year from your own words and your own perspective, and relive the story of how you spent the Christmas season. Special recipes and memorable gifts included. We are convinced that you're going to love the stories you are writing for years to come. That is true. This is Memories of Christmas. It's going to be the gift that keeps on giving. So head on over to beating50%.com. Grab your copy this Christmas season and enjoy it for years and years and years to come. Welcome back to These Are the Days podcast. Glad you're here. Babe, want to start with a Connect card question?
Question for this episode is...
This is the couples edition of Connect cards.
What is a new hobby that you wish you had more time for?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I don't have a lot of hobbies. Moms don't really have hobbies.
Yeah. Well, mine,
you're a hobby guy, so you probably have a million answers to this question.
I could say woodworking. I could, there's various things, but I would love to have more time to build things just build, create is it. But
no specifics within that, like
I'm a builder. I just whatever.
Wood building, knife building,
make jewelry,
fort.
To building tree houses, to working on the property and building rock walls, to getting the shop built out, to building tables, timber frame shed. I mean, I could go off and on and on and on about all the things in my mind I want to build. But also working out. I wish I just had more time for my body to work out.
You do have
and
more time.
Emerge.
I feel like that has been more a result of your injuries and health stuff than it is.
Well, yeah, those have bummed
else.
me out for sure.
Like you have time to work out. It's just that your back and your shoulder and your
but a lot of that's
over here.
A lot of that's because I'm not working out. Like I feel like, they say like when you have a back. I read something actually just yesterday. When you have a back injury, I think it's low back. It was probably low back ability, that dude. But worst thing to do is not work out because I
remember when you were working out with doing CrossFit and stuff, you were very healthy. You had no back problems.
No back problems. Yeah. Movement is medicine. Motion is lotion.
But then you got scared of working out, I feel like.
No, I stopped because of Mira.
No.
Yeah. That's
you
why
stopped before Mira.
I stopped 3 weeks before Mira.
I thought it was before that because of your back
Nope.
and you were scared.
3 weeks
hurting
before
it.
Mira. So it's been 5 months since I've been actively every day, 5:30 a.m. going to the gym. And I did that for, I was doing that for.
Mm-hmm. So why haven't you started again?
Well, I got to. Sheesh.
It's been 5 months. So what?
I know. Well, injuries. I haven't because it's like
That's what
the
I'm
back
saying.
and then the
That's
shoulder
what I feel
and then
like
all
it's
these things.
more
But they got to stop being excuses because I'll never go now.
Mm-hmm.
And,
You think you'll go back to CrossFit?
Yeah, I'll probably start doing CrossFit again.
That's going to be the thing.
It's local. It's close. It's early in the morning. It's the only time I can possibly find. And I don't really want to drive somewhere to some gym and have my own routine. I like that. I don't have to think about what I'm doing. I just show up and they tell me what to do and I get to put in the effort I want to put into it. And it's a small, tight group of people, not just a bunch of strangers.
Yeah.
It's just a good communal. It's very communal environment.
The convenience of it being so close to our house is really a game changer. Our family, we're not big gym membership people. We've never really had a gym membership, but mainly because there's no gym out here.
Totally.
And it's just a beast of an effort to get all our kids there. We actually thought about doing it last year, getting a gym membership just for the ability to put our kids in the childcare loan so that we could work out.
Which we might do at some point.
I know a lot of young families do that, but it's just then we weighed the pros and cons of the effort to actually get there and put our kids into the childcare and do the whole thing. Plus they're so expensive. So I feel like CrossFit is nice for you because of that. convenience. But I don't think that working out should be categorized as a hobby. I feel like that should be more part of like health.
Yeah.
It's not really fair to put working out in the hobby category, you know?
It's true. It should be something.
I agree. I would choose that. Like my answer to the question would also
unfortunately, we live in a moment in human history where it kind of is. Like we have to choose to become physical again because we live and have built and designed a culture, and we have all of these beautiful amenities that make life easier, but it's come at the expense and result of us not moving our bodies.
Yeah.
Like you see photos of like, even just from the 60s, 70s and 80s, the men and the women from then to now, like my grandpa, Papa, man, if I could find that photo, we should throw it up here. He's 18 in this photo. And I'm like, you're a full grown man. Yeah. Like you.
There's a reason he had strong hugs.
Yeah. I mean, I just look at him. I'm like, that is a different breed of human being. You know what I mean? Like there are 18-year-olds just don't look like that anymore. And most of what we talk about here is, I think, they're one of the reasons for that. But
totally.
I'm going to find that photo and we're going to put it up here. Papa.
Yeah. Hey. The great one.
This just so happens legend. To be laying on the ground right here. I took it out of my pocket.
Stop it. Are you serious?
Yeah, this is his memory celebration.
Aww.
So this was what, here's sayings from Papa.
Ago.
He'd always say.
No, 1 year ago. Sorry.
Dingbat. The worst swear word Papa knew. It's so funny. My purpose in life is to glorify God. He'd always say that. Well, that was funny. We just found this here.
He had so many.
Yeah, so we'll put the photo up right here. This is Ron Roloff, Papa Roloff. But anyways, Ronald James Roloff. 1938 to 2022.
It's good. Oh, I guess it was 2 years ago. You're right. Wow.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
Okay, my hobby, I would say is, if you're going to say working out, I would say I would put that over any other hobby that I would choose. And I have been not working out since I was 6 months pregnant with Mira because of some pregnancy things. I had some varicose veins that were super painful, and also my pubic symphysis pain in my hips. But anyways, all that's gone and resolved. Have the baby and it just goes away, which is great. And I've been going to reformer Pilates. I actually started going because my mom has been going for the past year. And again, same reason kind of as Jared with CrossFit. It's super convenient, close to our house. It's just this tiny little reformer's Pilates studio.
Which reformer?
Pilates, reformer. It's a type of Pilates on the reformer. So there's like mat Pilates where you lay on the ground on a mat and you're doing like leg lifts and stuff. But the reformer, that's what I'm saying. I think it'd be so good for you and your back to go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against it at all.
But you're on like this machine that's all like doing resistance. Anyways, it's super good for pelvic floor, like post baby. And if you're just wanting to build back strength without being susceptible to injury because it's low impact. And I've really, really liked it because it's not high cardio. It's just great. So I try to go once a week, which I tell myself, I've been doing this lately. I've been telling myself, I do this every day, or I do this once a week. And even if I don't do it every day, or if I don't do it every week, that's okay. But I think I've had to kind of get past this barrier of like, I can't say that I do it every day or every week unless I actually do. And so if I miss 1 week, I didn't do it, but then that makes me not do it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
totally.
So I have to tell myself I go to Pilates every Tuesday after I drop my body off at preschool. And I miss a lot of times. Like this month I only went once.
You're fine tuning the mental game associated with like getting in this season of life, getting to the gym and doing something.
It's like sometimes you have to tell yourself it. Anyways, my other hobby I would just say would be like getting more into other sourdough baking things. Sourdough stuff besides just bread, because I really do love doing that. I would consider it kind of a hobby.
Yeah.
And I it's fun, it's therapeutic, it's enjoyable for me, and
I'm not opposed to that one, babe. I'm not opposed to either of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. Sourdough would be your one.
Yeah, I mean, baking, cooking.
I mean, I'd love to rock climb more. That's why I'm building a rock climbing wall. Who knows how far I am in it when this airs, but and that's a whole, like, that is high. And some people are like, that's too high. They need a,
how high is it actually?
15 feet exactly. But I told both Bodie and Ember on the way to.
I'm not opposed.
Hold on. both Bodie and Ember on the way to school today, we were talking about the rock wall, and they were like asking questions because they love it. They want it. And it's good because I'm obviously spending money and time doing it.
Totally.
But also it's something I will do with them. Like I know I will be up there with them, and you're going to ring the dinner bell, and I'm going to be like, oh darn, like we got to go down. You know, we're going to be so engaged with it. But that being said, they were talking about how high it is and scary, and they're so funny. I'm like, yeah, guys, like, how about this? I'll paint a red line across it, and you can't go above the red line. And they're like, oh, yeah. That's a great idea. Yeah, we won't touch the red line. And they're like coming up with this, like, you know, these plans. Another thing I was saying, too, is, so that's good on them to do that. But also, I don't have to put the holds all the way up. Like, it would just be a wall.
Yeah.
So like the holds
I think maybe they can graduate to higher holds.
Yeah, like
as they get
sure.
older.
Or like we'll get the auto belay, and you can't go above the red line unless you're clipped in.
Yeah, let's just get the auto belay for our playroom in our house. Okay. I'm not opposed to the rock wall though, just to be clear. I think it's awesome. It was our vision for that playroom,
it's
not just
so
yours,
good.
mind you.
So good for the kids.
But I just don't know. I didn't.
It
the
became
height of
a
it
big
is,
project.
When you look at it, look a little.
It's
scarier.
massive. Yeah.
I did poll my Instagram, and I was like, "What do you guys think?"
What poll?
And 70% of people were like, "Yes, do it," and 30% were like, "No." But I still think we should put a foam pit at the bottom, so then I'm not as worried about the height. Then they can fall into it.
Not gonna do a foam pit.
Climbing rope
we'll do
in
a
there.
foam mattress because we have to play soccer up there. We have to do other things. I'm not gonna build a 4-foot walled out foam pit area.
A mattress is going to take up the same amount of space.
But you fold the mattress up when you want to play.
Do you though?
Yeah, you just literally the mattresses have been up against the wall for the last.
I mean, I don't know. I think the kids would love a foam pit, and then when they climb the rope,
foam
they
pits
could
for the
fall
barn.
into
Foam
it.
pits for the barn, eventually.
The rock wall could have been for the barn eventually.
Yeah, I can just.
We can play soccer.
I can just take it
outside. We don't need to play soccer in our.
When it's pouring down rain and stuff, I can just take the rock wall down and put it in the barn eventually. I just unscrew it. I mean, it's just. Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. Okay, moving on to height of 15 feet. We had a 15-foot tree.
Touche segue there, buddy.
2 Christmases ago.
Oh, yep.
And we're deciding.
What's it going to take to get you to do it again?
Well,
How do I have to bribe you?
Where it's supposed to go is now a loft. So.
Where it did go.
And I don't think
it did go 2 years
I don't think you realize how much space that took up. I mean, it was a 10 to 12 foot
I realize
base that, then it went up 15 and a half feet.
It wasn't actually that big. That tree was pretty tall, like even height or even width all the way up.
Yeah. Well,
it was kind of,
Yeah.
No?
It was 10 feet, I think, at the bottom.
Yeah. But even remember it in that living room, it didn't take up, or in where the current dining room is, it didn't take up that whole room.
I've been thinking about this actually, and what we could do is just cut the backside of the tree flat and literally push it flat up against the wall. So it's almost like a half moon, half circle. So you'd get the visual of the tree and whatnot, but it wouldn't be this massive in the room thing.
I think you'd be able to tell, and that'd look kind of janky.
No.
And then it'd be weighted. It would be tippy.
No.
It wouldn't be tippy?
No, it'd be fine. With
the branches on one side?
With the base I build, I need my welder. That's my Christmas present, a welder.
A welder?
A welder.
How much is a welder?
I'll send you some links.
Can you buy a welder?
What do you mean? Yeah, Amazon. I mean,
you can buy a welder on Amazon?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How much are they actually?
Miller-Matic 811, whatever it is. That's the one I want.
How much are they?
Oh, like the nice one that I want with the automatic adjustment setting, like $2,000. So,
oh my god,
it's expensive, but like think about
everything you want is expensive.
Yeah, but I mean, we live on property. Like I need to be making stuff and fixing stuff and building tree bases and random stuff. People are gonna be laughing at this, but okay.
Jared's like, whenever you guys, all the married couples know, right? Like whenever you talk about money, finances on things, and it's like, where'd the money go this month? What do we spend all our money on this month? And then Jared looks at me, I don't know, just random Amazon stuff. It must be Amazon. It must be random Amazon stuff because that's what I spend my money on. Look at him. I'm like, but you spent $2,000 on rocks for our backyard. Like, I spend $100 on Amazon every week for like the essentials that we need for our family, and
true.
because I don't go out to go shopping in person. Yeah, it's true.
I won't tell you how much those.
Fortunately and unfortunately, it's
I won't
okay.
tell you how
I
much
love it, but I also kind of hate it. It's a.
I won't tell you how much those rock holds were.
For the rock wall.
Yeah.
Okay, but I do think that you should do the Clark Griswold Christmas. The kids want you to do a big Christmas tree. Yeah, they've been begging for it.
I'll do something. It's like when
we can get one of those scraggly ones. You know, when we went that year, 2 years ago, when we got the really big one, it was freezing cold, and I had baby Radley. He was like just born.
Yeah.
And I had to take all the kids back. Or no, he wasn't. He was one. I don't know. I can't remember. He was one because we were living in the house, and we had to go back down to the fire pit area, and you just had to go get the tree by yourself because it was so cold, remember?
Yeah, I do remember.
And then we had to drive separate cars because you had to drive the truck. You had to put it in the back of your truck, your Flying Dutchman.
Yep.
But when you were doing that, you were texting me pictures of them like, what about this one? What about this one? Yeah. While you were out there in the cold.
We
and
did that,
there was, most of them were really scraggly, like really sparse branches.
Yeah, this one is full.
And so I feel like if we got one that was really sparse branches, it wouldn't be as heavy.
Yeah, I want a sparse branched, really narrow, tall tree.
They gotta have
That's what we're looking for.
This place that we go
like,
to.
I want the ugly duckling tree for anyone else, but it'll be perfect and it'll fit for our needs. And we could even get those big ornaments to fill the spaces.
Yeah, do we have all those still?
Well, the barn, I mean, at the farm, at the Roll-Off Farms, there's up in the Men's Crisis Center, there's
Is that what
at
we
least
used?
there used to be just literally boxes and boxes and boxes of Christmas decorations.
Well, we used them, remember? We must have used them because we had tons of them.
Oh, yeah, we did use them.
Have them. Did your dad give them to us?
I remember
I don't think
we
he
did put
needs
big
them
ornaments
anymore.
on it. Yeah. Okay, enough about the tree.
So you're going to do it?
Well, we'll see. I got to do Christmas lights, and you want to hang wreaths in the house.
I told Jared at the beginning of this season, I'm like, I want this. I want to go all out for Christmas.
I got the fan in Ember's bathroom. I got the rock wall to build. I got the downstairs bathroom to. I mean, the list is literally endless. Going back to the first question of the podcast, like what hobbies? I just want time to do these projects. But then I got to work, and we got to do all this other. Okay.
I want to go all out for Christmas, but I've got the same problem. We've got to work. We've got all the kids. We've got the house project. It's all these things.
We can't do
but
it.
I also think about this right now. I'm like, if we don't have any more kids, this is our last baby, then this is going to be the youngest that the kids will be. I don't know why that haunts me with everything, but I'm like, this is the youngest that the kids will be at Christmas.
Yeah.
And Ember and Bodhi are like super into it. It's fun for them now because they kind of get a lot of the stuff, like the meaning behind it, and we can kind of teach them at a different level this year, and they get more excited about like going to the zoo lights. We're not like dragging them there for our experience. Like they think it's fun and get hyped about it, you know?
Totally.
All finding the wise men every morning, like they're excited. They kind of now, because Bodhi's almost 5 and Ember just turned 7, so now they're at this point where they like are expecting things because they kind of remember the past couple years of their life. Yeah. Like Bodhi last year, he remembers staying in the big house at the farm for Christmas last year. Yeah. And he told me, because I was asking him, his birthday is right after Christmas, and I was asking him, what do you want to do for your birthday? And he's like, I want to have my birthday at Little Papa's farm. And I was like, really? Why? He's like, because I want to have my birthday party in the tunnels. I was like, you remember the tunnels? He goes, yeah. Remember when we stayed at Little Papa's house for Christmas last year? For those that don't know, we rented out the farmhouse for Christmas last year because we weren't living in our house. We were living with my parents. We wanted to have our own little family time. Crazy story. Anyways, it was really cool to be able to be there, but show our kids like literally going back into the house that you had.
Yeah, like the boys slept in my room
growing up. Yeah. Anyways, super sweet. But the boys played in these tunnels, and Bodhi was like, it was his dream. He just loved it. He's like, that's where he wants to have his birthday. Yeah, but it's crazy that he remembers that.
It's funny what memories like get tattooed, like what becomes a core memory kind of for kiddos.
Oh my gosh. Can I tell a quick story about that? Speaking of that. So Ember, have we told this story on the podcast about Ember's memory thing?
Oh, no.
Okay. So this is just crazy because I shared it the other day and a bunch of people were like blowing me up in messages about it because Ember has this thing totally unprompted by us. Like we did not say like, go do this or help her with this or whatever. She just comes.
She just disappeared.
She disappears
like 3
into
hours.
our homeschool room for hours doing who knows what types of craft imaginative things. all she ever wants for like her birthdays and Christmas is supplies for craft. She never wants us to throw anything away because she wants to use it for craft. Mom, do you have anything that you got to like packaging stuff that I can use that's for supplies for crafts? Like she just doesn't want me to throw stuff away. Anyways, so she just goes in the craft room and starts like engineering this thing for hours. And she comes out and it's this big construction paper book. And then in it, she has white paper lined on the inside and has grid. It's a grid. And it's like story sequence. It's a storyboard, literally gridded out in this book. And each
We'll throw a quick photo up of it.
Yeah, each grid is a memory. And they're all key significant memories. Some of them are kind of sad memories. Most of them are like
they're all core memories.
Favorite happy things. Yeah. Core memories. But other ones are like one of the funny ones is like a picture of Aspen, our kitty, and then it's like Aspen, our kitty, on our couch, and then it's Jer with an angry face on the next box, and then it's Aspen, our kitty, outside. It's like she remembers because like that's been something that's repeating. It's not a core memory, but it's something that happens a lot.
Yeah, it's like stop frame visuals. It's like 4 frames that tell. They don't only tell a story, but they tell a thing. They tell of like a way we live. You know what I mean? It's really.
What are some of the other ones on there? I forget.
Stuck in the mud. Like her and Bodhi watched me, and I got a tractor just buried to the axle in the mud, one of the Kubotas, and just sank. You know, and Uncle Jacob came over and. You know, we chained it up and had the excavator out there, and it was a whole hoodly haw, and the kids were sitting in the field, literally just eating grass or clover it was, and they were watching this whole event take place, and that became one of the core memories in her book that she never wanted to forget.
It's so sweet. And someone on Instagram messaged me back and was like, oh my gosh, I totally saw the picture of Mirabella's birth in there. Like they noticed, like could see what it was, because it's like me in the tub clearly holding Mira, her standing, like But it's all these, anyways, so crazy what they remember and she's so into it, which is funny because
we have memory
funny.
Books.
Like we're very into like archiving and keepsaking and commemorating things, and so she must have adopted that, whether just by seeing us do it or by some form of personality genetic path down.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's just super sweet.
We will be back to the conversation in a minute. One of the greatest needs we have in terms of our health is working through and processing our emotions, whether they be past, present, or future. The mind is a gateway for health, and therapy is one of the ways we get to know ourselves, and we can't heal what we don't know. So we got to know ourselves to be able to know what to heal. It's a process, and therapy is a working through of the mind. That being said, the sponsor of today's episode is BetterHelp. I've mentioned them before. I'm going to mention them again. They have brought therapy into the 21st century. They've made it accessible, and they've utilized the tool of the internet to allow anyone at any point in time to get access to therapy on your own terms. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. You can switch therapists at any point in time for no additional charge. It's super easy to do, nothing weird. So I highly suggest you give BetterHelp a try. If you want to do so, visit betterhelp.com/TATD. That's the acronym for These Are the Days, TATD. And you'll get 10% off your first month. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/TATD. Back to the episode. Well, speaking of memories, another banger transition here. What are our traditions? We did a couple notes here. What are our favorite Christmas traditions growing up?
Oh yeah.
And then our first Christmas. We should talk about what our favorite traditions are right now. Like, what do we actually do now as a family of 6? You know, what do we have capacity for? What's something we want to share about how to do it right? Because it can be super overwhelming, and everyone's like, we got to do it all. And you know,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Take it away, brother.
Well, one thing I'll say about traditions, and I think we've said this on a podcast before recently, is it's funny what becomes a quote unquote tradition and what doesn't. Like, Oh yeah, we did say this, so I won't spend too much time on it. But I'm tempted to say like, oh yeah, one of our traditions growing up was like we always went camping. We did a camp, like
you said this.
Big camping trip or whatever. It's like we might have done that 3 times, 3 or 4 times, maybe, maybe more, but that's all I remember. And it's like this big iconic tradition for my life. You know what I mean? So it's funny to think in this like formidable season of life. We might have done it more, 6 times. I honestly couldn't tell you. I wouldn't even be able to put money on how many times we did it. But it's just amazing. Like you do something 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times in a row, and it just becomes core memory tradition in the season of life.
Yeah.
For kids.
I think when you talk about traditions, like for moms, it can feel kind of daunting and overwhelming. Like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing enough traditions, or social media can make it so easy to see all the traditions that you could be doing, or like core memories you could be creating with your kids that you're not doing. And that's where the overwhelm can come in, where people feel like they need to be doing so much more than they can. It's like, no, I think we talked about this in a podcast a couple years ago where we basically said like, we had to come to this conclusion. Okay, here's our like non-negotiable traditions for Christmas. These are the things we're like definitely not going to miss. And then all the other stuff is like icing on the cake. Like we have other traditions that we like to do, and if we can do them and they make sense for that year, we do. But also if we don't do them, it's not like a ruined Christmas, or like it's okay, like.
So what are those for us?
So some of the non-negotiable ones for us are Christmas morning. We always do Christmas morning, just our family. Just like our kids waking up, read the Christmas story, have a fire, slow morning.
Which might not sound like a tradition, but it's a tradition in the sense that it's something that we've chosen to put parameters around and do consistently year over year and protect that sacred space. Like we want our kids to remember slow Christmas mornings where dad starts the fire. We read the scriptures, and we have Kringle, and it smells like coffee and fire. You know what I mean? Like we do the things, you know what I mean? And it does end up becoming always a very full morning, you know what I mean? In an effort to make it slow, it becomes full, but it's a time that we protected, and that it falls under the bucket of, or the parameters of traditions, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. So that's one. The other one is we always go to Christmas Eve service, but that's kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't really categorize a tradition, but doing our Christmas Polaroid. So every year we take a Polaroid photo, selfie of our family and our jammies on Christmas morning, and on Christmas Eve, usually when we're dressed up in like our nice Christmas outfits the night before, and we back to back them and we put them up on the tree. So this year we're going to have our 11th Polaroid hanging on the tree. It looks really cool because it's just all these like vintage Polaroid photos all over our tree. So that's a big one. What are the other non-negotiable ones for the season? Like then there's some other ones, like we do the zoo lights every year because we live close to the Oregon Zoo. It's really fun for the kids. We do the wise men traveling to our nativity set. So this is something that I get questions about a lot. I'll just briefly share it for those of you that maybe want to adopt it with your own young kids. We've been doing it since Ember was like 2. It's something that I did growing up. My mom did it for us kids, and basically what she does is every single morning she would, like starting on December 1st, hide the wise men from our nativity set somewhere in our house, somewhere away from the nativity set, really far. And then every morning she would hide them in a new place, and they'd travel closer and closer and closer to baby Jesus, of course. And it was just a fun way for us to like rally as kids in the morning together and do something fun that was centered around Jesus every single day. So we do that with our kids. They get excited about it. Yeah. We even did it when we were living at my parents last year. So they're pumped for doing that this year. What are the other big ones? I can't even remember. Did I write them down?
Yeah. I mean, there's little ones. Like we always watch the Lego movie for some reason. I think it's just a super creative movie that has many, many, many layers, which means like every time I watch it, I like unpack this new layer that I'm like, wow, they're really telling a big story with this movie. But then for a kid, they can also enjoy it. So it's like a full family movie. Memories of Christmas.
Memories of Christmas is probably like the other like non-negotiable. So every year after Christmas, I fill in our Memories of Christmas journal the day after Christmas and basically write in everything we did, gifts we gave and received, put our Christmas card photo in there, the hero Polaroid image on the front, and where we spent that Christmas, everything that we ate, little
Speaking
other
of eating,
mementos, the kids' Christmas list and stuff I tuck in there.
Yeah,
so
food,
always do that.
like you always make bread, and we have Christmas soup is what we call it. And so it's just a specific thing of soup that we eat for like 2 days. And,
Wait, it's funny the things that become traditions. Like certain things become traditions because they're intentional. Like I had this idea to do the Polaroid photo thing our first year of marriage, and I was like, this would be a really cool thing someday. And that was an intentional thing that I decided to do. But like the Christmas soup thing was like, we were in Lake Arrowhead for our first Christmas
together.
And we got in super late. Remember, because my job made it leave LA in traffic and we didn't get there till super late. Only one store was open. I was like, well, this was kind of like the only recipe that I knew how to cook like really well at the time that was like going to be a lot of food for Christmas. And so I was like, we'll just make that. It was something that like my family had a lot growing up. So we just called it Christmas soup. Lo and behold, here we are 10 years later, still having the Christmas. It's nothing super fancy.
No,
it's like
a literally
chicken mole soup thing.
Yeah.
But, it's really good, but it's just funny because like that wasn't intentional.
No,
I didn't think that like that was going to be what we ate every year on Christmas.
Totally.
Yeah. Here we are. Anyways,
that's about. I mean, that's pretty much our list. It's not a ton of stuff, but it's just things you just try to, and you kind of spread it out. You don't want to pack it all into too tight of a season or too tight of a window. So
I like what you said though about like you remember the camping trips. And that was maybe only 1 or 2 times, right? Like, I think that's a good encouragement for young parents because a lot of young parents are like, well, I didn't start the Polaroid thing, or we don't read the Christmas story every morning, or I want to do this, but it's too late. It's like, it's not too late. Just start it. Your kids might literally, if you do it 3 years in a row, your kids might, when they get older, say, we did that every year, and that was my favorite thing.
I love our Polaroid photos.
So it's like, don't be intimidated by the fact that you haven't done it every single year. Like, you can start and it can be meaningful now. I think that's like a thing that people need to hear more. I don't know. It's a thing that I need to hear more.
It's a great note.
But speaking of Christmases growing up and like what you remember, we were going to ask each other what were some of our favorite Christmas things from growing up. But I'm just curious for you with Christmases growing up because you had a totally different dynamic with your Christmas not being just your family and it being filmed. And so how was that part of, or were they not there on Christmas?
Yeah.
Were they there on Christmas morning?
That's interesting. I remember at some point, they started filming Christmases, but we quickly decided that we would do a filmed Christmas and then we would do like a family Christmas.
Literally like a fake filmed Christmas.
Yeah, it wasn't really like we might have actually given gifts and done stuff, but it's like, they only need a few shots to make a whole thing. You know what I mean?
About in the beginning when it was first starting though? Were they just there every Christmas morning?
I mean, nobody wants to be working on Christmas Day.
That's
so
crazy.
It's like, so that's another reason why I remember did a second Christmas was because of filming. Like, so we would film it a week early or a few days early.
What about when they were living there? Were they living there for Christmas? When the crew was like living in the barn and stuff?
No, they never lived in the barn. The barn is home base, but they had their...
They never lived there? I thought some
I
of
don't
them
think
did.
they ever lived in the barn, no.
Oh, I thought some of them did.
But my life was so crazy and weird, I literally couldn't remember. I mean, maybe.
well, for what it's worth, I remember doing filmed Christmas with your family when I entered the scene.
Yeah.
And then your family doing Christmas.
And then us doing Christmas. Yeah.
And I don't even remember what we did, but I remember doing like, they filmed us doing Christmas gift exchange.
That's what I'm saying. It's like they only need a couple shots and then they get out of your life. You know what I mean? But we didn't want them to be on a Christmas Day and they didn't want to be filming on Christmas Day. So it only made sense like, well, why don't you guys do half of your Christmas stuff on this day? We can film it and then you can do what you want on Christmas Day. So that's what we ended up doing.
Yeah. Remember that one? Sorry, I just thought of the, speaking of filmed Christmas versus where we did the filmed Thanksgiving versus regular Thanksgiving. Remember that one year we filmed Thanksgiving and my family came and your parents were divorced.
We had it at the big table next to
your parents were divorced, but we had it in the farmhouse at the big table and my family was there, like my siblings and your siblings, I think all of your siblings, and I made the turkey for that dinner. Remember that? It was like freaking enormous turkey, and they wanted to make it be like this thing where like Audrey has to cook this huge turkey and it gets ruined and destroys it, and like everyone was like, this is the best turkey ever. It was like incredible.
I remember that,
which was totally by luck, like beginner's luck, because I'd never done a turkey before, and I was
that was going to be like part of the excitement, part of the narrative, but
how did we the funny things that the funny.
Yeah, but as far as traditions, though, I remember we did a lot of stuff outside. Like we were always on the mule. We were always out checking on stuff.
Did you cut down a tree on your property every year?
Nope, we didn't. We always went to the place just up the road on the mule. Yeah. You know what I mean? I remember doing a lot of stuff on because my dad was obviously, he's on the mule.
Did you go to Christmas Mountain?
And this is actually interesting. No, we never went to, I never even heard of it.
Really?
It's just interesting though, because like I tend to think I just do things, you're programmed and trained to do things a certain way, and from the window in which you have seen, and it's hard to know things that you haven't seen or haven't been modeled for you. And so like I do a lot of stuff on the farm with the kids, on the mule with the kids, and I'm trying to do other stuff, like even simple stuff, like earlier this year you were like, Jerry, you got to teach Bodie how to throw a ball.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like I've totally got to do that. But I never really did that.
It wasn't modeled.
It wasn't modeled for me. Like, we were always doing different stuff and building and playing in a different way, which is good and fine, but it's just funny.
Yeah, you and your dad didn't spend hours playing catch in the backyard or
I mean, in the house, maybe during the winter, we'd throw the ball or something around.
Like, how'd you learn how to ride a bike?
Oh, I think my mom or maybe one of my dad's friends would like push us. Would come over and push us.
How did you become so athletic?
Yeah, I honestly climbing steel metal roofs at 6 years old and jumping off
But how did you learn how to do that well, even?
Because I had the ability, I had it to do.
But like, okay, you're teaching our kids all the time though, like how to be aware and how to put their feet on. Yeah, you're modeling for them things that your dad couldn't have modeled for you. So how did you?
I have no idea, babe. Situational awareness is innate, but it can also be learned. I don't know. I honestly, that's one of those weird, maybe just weird makeups of people type things, but
yeah.
Anything for you? What's something you grew up doing that you want to?
You didn't say what your favorite thing is, though.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I don't really answer. Yeah, I don't really.
What about like pre-filming when you were a child and like?
Yeah, so that's another thing. It's like, everyone always says, "Oh, you grew up famous or you grew up on TV and stuff," but like, really, it was like 11 or 12. I think I was 12 when it started. So I mean, I had an entire childhood. Mm-hmm. Those were really the golden years. Was of the farm, and everything was just that. And then we had 4 or 5 after the show, and then it just got weird and started 20 years of kind of just whatever we want to call that.
20, yeah. Jeez.
Well, no, the show was 25 years or something, but what I'm saying is the first 5 years of it were like, I think, great and awesome TV and good content, but then it started to kind of go a certain way, and it was like 15 years of just kind of like grinding it out. But anyways, that's a whole conversation of craziness, but it was fun.
Did you ever have family there for Christmas besides your own immediate family?
No. I mean, my parents didn't have any friends up here. They moved up here. My dad was working, and my mom.
What about your grandparents, cousins?
None of them
never came to Christmas.
Oh,
none of them ever came.
We would go down for Christmas a few times. We went down to California.
To Grass Valley. Just to be with Honey and Papa.
Yeah. And
Ruth
and Rich and the girls and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. We did that a few times. Okay. But yeah, we much different than your family, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't have a ton of family either. Like my family.
No, but you guys always had people.
A ton of cousins.
You guys always had people over.
But we had Thanksgiving and Christmas. We didn't ever on Christmas Day have like family. We always did Christmas Day with our really good family friends, and then we did like a cousin's Christmas like the next day, which is kind of what we do with your mom now. We do like a cousin's Christmas.
A cousin's Christmas, yeah.
And then we do like we all kind of do our own things.
Totally.
Or things with the other side of the family on Christmas Day, which it works really well because actually me Isabel, Tori. I guess Joel is kind of different, but all of like who the roll-offs married.
Yeah.
The other halves don't have a bunch of other cousins. So like none of my siblings are married or have kids yet. None of Isabel's siblings have kids and cousins yet. So it's like, it is the cousin hangout party at your mom's,
Totally.
you know? Same with Tori. So anyways, just.
Final two thoughts: managing Christmas expectations and family dynamics. That's a great segue into family dynamics. One thing I want to share, like that we've just, with the family dynamic thing, and again, we've said this before, but it's always important to, I think, remind ourselves of it. And that is like, and we've made this decision 5 years ago now. I think Ember was 2 when we said, after the second Christmas with Ember, we said, we are a family. We are going to do Christmas our way. And that's that. Mm-hmm. And so the family dynamic changed a lot that third year. We basically said, we are doing family at our house, and we don't want any of you to, if you want to stop by after 12 noon, you're more than welcome before we come to you for dinner or whatever. But at that point, we didn't even know if we wanted to do dinner elsewhere. Now we love doing dinner at your parents'. Mm-hmm. That's what we do. So we go to my mom's the day before, and then we have our Christmas morning and afternoon, and then we jump next door.
But we love having people over for Christmas. Like usually Zach and Tori have even stopped by. Jacob and Isabel have stopped by the past few years. Your mom and Chris have come by. Our house is kind of like open door after that morning window.
I'm just saying, we chose.
But that morning window, we're protected.
You take the helm. You have to take the helm. Is really, I think, what I'm trying to say. Like, you have to take the helm
to make it enjoyable for you.
To make it enjoyable for you, especially when you have kids
and your kids.
It's the classic, like, build your dream, or someone will pay you to build theirs. Like you just have to build your Christmas day, your Christmas experience, or you will be involved in and dragged through someone else's Christmas plans and experience. That's what I'm trying to say.
Totally. Yep.
Yeah. And then you have something else to say there?
No.
That segues into managing just expectations. And we talk about expectation management a lot, and like something we actually maybe haven't been that great at the last, couple months or a year, but expectation management is such an unlock. Mm-hmm. Because you know exactly what your spouse wants, it's basically creating a plan. So like, even when we go to her parents' house, we sit in the car when we pull up and we grab each other's hand. What are your expectations, real quick? And we just get to say, I want to leave early, or like, none, stay late. I don't care if the kids do this. I want to leave. If they don't, let's stay. I only want them to have one cookie because of this and that, blah, blah, blah. But we get to like get it said and get it out. And it's just communication. Mm-hmm. And on my Instagram, I've been talking a lot about communication and just thoughts that come to my brain of like, communication and the health of it is very much correlated to the health of the relationship. In other words, no communication, you have no relationship. They are literally a stranger. Think of someone on the street. To ultimate communication would be oneness, which is why marriage is used as the analogy. But because within the oneness of marriage, it's implied that you have really healthy synergetic communication. And so it's just a scale, and you can overlay that on so many things, like your relationship with God. Like, it's based on communication largely, right? Like, anyways, expectation management, big for us.
Yeah. I think as you were talking to, like, we've always talked about expectation management in light of marriage, which super important. We've always been big proponents of that, but I think it's now shifting a little bit more towards, we have to practice expectation management with our kids. And I think now that they're getting a little bit older, for a while, we've kind of been able to rodeo them around. You're along for mom and dad's ride. Like, you're just doing what mom and dad are wanting to do, right? Like, but now they have a little bit more voice in what they want to do. And we want to honor that too. We don't want to just jerk them around all the time doing what we want to do. We want to invite them in to have the ability to say they want to do something differently. And also, like, especially our oldest wants to know what we're doing. And she kind of wants to be able to prepare for it a little bit. She wants to get excited about certain things or whatever. And so I think that's a shift for us. We haven't been as good at that. And I think we're going to need to be a little bit better about that this Christmas, even just like
totally. Yeah.
Certain Christmas things that we're going to do are for are maybe not for them. They're maybe for mom and dad, or they're maybe for family members, or they're maybe for some other reason, right?
Yep.
Or they're maybe for like certain things aren't as geared for Bodhi and Ember, and they're more geared for, I don't know, like we're just going to have to be, I think, moving forward a little bit more communicated with them about that kind of stuff, and like getting them on the same page as with us as, hey guys, like even inviting them into, we're not going to stay late here today. We're going to leave after dinner, or guys, I brought your pajamas and we're going to stay a little bit up past bedtime here. So we're going to put our pajamas on and we're going to brush our teeth. So when we get home, we're not going to read a book or whatever. Like just doing better job at
it's so
literally
helpful.
showing them telling them what they're going to do.
Yeah.
So they can kind of forecast that a little bit.
I just glanced down at the list, and we obviously read the Christmas story, one of the traditions we always do. And then did we talk about the Advent calendar?
No. So, but I mean,
well, I just thought I'd say that because this will go out and people are like, they don't read the Christmas story. It's like, of course we read the Christmas story.
We didn't like give it a super exhaustive list of all the things that we do at Christmas.
I just saw it. I'm like, well, it's at least mentioned that one. You know?
The Christmas Advent, like there's so many good resources now. I feel like for modern parents when it comes to Advent, I don't really remember growing up doing a ton of stuff around Advent. I feel like there wasn't as unique and integrative and immersive and educational Advent resources for parents to teach their kids about like throughout the Advent season. And there are so many now that are super helpful. But one of the ones I started with Ember when she was 2 that we've just continued to do for now, it's definitely geared more towards little kids. And I've found some other things that I think are a little better for her age now that she's 7. But it's called the Jessie Tree ornaments. So they're just little ornaments for December 1st through 25th. And we put them in our Advent calendar, but they align to the first 25 stories in the Jesus Storybook Bible. So literally every day I read a story from the Jesus Storybook Bible. They go and get that little ornament from our Advent calendar, and it has a picture that correlates with the Jesus Storybook Bible, and it has the verse on it, and it says the day. And then they go and hang it on the tree after we read the story. And so it's just a super simple. But I've also really loved, Ann Voskamp has a really good a couple different Advent resources that are really good with daily readings for the kids. There's a Catholic website, actually. It's called Be Heart Design, I think it's what it's called. And they have some really cool, just like very creative resources for kids, like coloring sheets and coloring sheets that you can color in each day leading up to Christmas, like fun stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a ton.
But one other thing that I get questions about every year, this is not as related to like geared towards families and kids, but it's a tradition that I have done every single year since before Jeremy and I were married, and it's something that I do with my girlfriends. And every year that I do it with my girlfriends and I share about it, we get a lot of questions about how we do it. So I'll briefly just share it really quickly because I feel like the podcast's better format. But basically, we call it our Christmas favorite things gift exchange every year. So every year, all of my group of friends that I've had since literally kindergarten, we've honestly actually been doing this since high school. So we've been doing it for, I don't know, 15 years, a lot of years. We used to do it where we would draw names and we would do like a traditional gift exchange. But then in the past 10 years, we've basically done it where everyone brings 2 of their favorite things from that year. And it's under a certain dollar amount. I think we do like $30 or something. And you wrap them up. They can be 2 of the same things or they can be 2 different things. Most people get 2 of the same things that are like their favorite thing from that year. Wrap them up, miscellaneous, put them all into a pile. We draw numbers from the pile just like you would in a white elephant gift exchange. And we go around, everyone picks one gift after your number, and you can do the same thing. You can steal or you can get a new gift.
So
everyone
fun.
Leaves with 2 gifts that are their favorite things, but also everyone leaves with full Amazon carts of all the things that everyone else brought, because we all end up fighting over these like funny little $30 things, but we all get to explain like why we love them. And it's also just a great time for us to get gift ideas, because we traditionally do it like a few weeks before Christmas. So it's a great opportunity for us all to get good gift ideas to give to like our other family members or friends or coworkers or teacher gifts or whatever, because they're like small things, but they're like awesome hack things that we love.
That's super fun.
Anyways, it's just a fun thing, and it's always like a fun, cozy girl night time. So if you're looking for just a fun way to gather with some girlfriends or guy friends or couples or whatever, it's just be an easy thing to do. So,
well,
that's it.
'Tis the season.
Anything else?
I don't think so.
All right.
That's it.
We'll see if we get to the Clark Griswold Christmas tree this year. What kind of bribery it's going to take from Jeremy to do it.
Yeah, we'll see. You'll definitely see it if it happens. But man, just know that it'll be a conversation. All right.
That's right.
It will have had been a conversation because it's a lot to do, but it'll be worth it for the kiddos.
No.
All right.
Okay. These are the days.